Let's go. Let's go. Who's ready for some boom, baby? Boom. Rise and shine. Let's get up off this seat. It was literally thundering a second ago. And then in some bipolar weather, it was like rain, 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 thunder. But then the sun came out. And I was like, isn't that just like the dark and the light and everything? The power tripping, having the conversations about the dark triads, the psychopaths, the narcissist, and the what was the other one? I was just looking at it, in the Machiavellian techniques that we all participate in. I was having this conversation with my friend this morning, and I thought it would be a good morning motivation. Yes, I got some weed finally, and have this conversation about what it is to have power and what it is to not have power, and what really works out in the real world. And we're going to have this conversation. Saints addiction, leg out. Let me get that shirt off my belly and have it. So bro, if you don't have power, then you're powerless, and nobody on this earth wants to be powerless. Nobody wants to be without power. Nobody wants to be subjugated to someone else's whims, basically slavery, and not having anything of their own willpower, which is one of my shirts, to do anything about it, right? Being told what to do. It's the reason why I'm an entrepreneur. Nobody tells me what to do, at what time to do it, and looking at their clock and telling me that I'm late. When I got fired from Gold's Gym, I'll never forget, it was 98. And I was just like, I need to be an entrepreneur. I'm a horrible employee. Entrepreneurs make horrible employees. People that really want to be a part of this life knows that, and everybody in the life knows that they don't want somebody to have more power over them. We talk a lot about like husbands telling their wives what to do. You know, you can't go on girls trips, what you can wear, and who you can hang out with. There's some power there, right? Or when the police come up to your car and knock on the window and tell you to show me your ID so that they can look for something, and come up with trumped up charges, or bully you at a stop sign and be like, get back, or sit like a dog, and all these other things. And then of course Machiavellian techniques, which we're going to have this conversation this morning, because there is backstabbing. Or when Machiavelli was in the 14th century talking with popes and kings and all these other people, that there actually was actual backstabbing, and usually the guy with power was standing over the dead body of someone that just instantly became powerless. This is what ends up happening, right? We don't want to talk about it. We don't want to talk about the truth, but it right there for you after watching a video from your guy, who's the one that said the art of not giving a fuck, or is it the subtle art of not giving a fuck? Anyway, you know the book I'm talking about. And there are psychopaths, true psychopaths out there that are like, kill a lot of people, hurt a lot of people. We're talking on the level of Adolf Hitler, Mussolini, who was one of the other ones. And they got the sociopaths, which were more like your boy Stalin, or I'm trying to do it off of my mental memory. And then you got your narcissist, which is more like your Trump, your Putins, and your Elon Musk. Even Elon Musk can be a psychopath. You know what I'm saying? So, or not a psychopath, a narcissist. So there are dark triads, right? Everyone has a dark side to them. I have mostly saints because all the halos have horns to me. It's perfectly imperfect. And then I called it saints addiction because every saint had an addiction. It's honestly flawed, or honest sinners is what I call it. Most people are honest about things, right? We want to cover it up, and I don't want you to see it, right? It's behind the cloud, it's behind the wind, it's in my dark little closet, and I'm going to pretend or virtue signal to the world that I am better than what I am, or that you believe that I'm better than I am. And as we were watching the show Entourage, I was like, this is what it is. This is the Hollywood stars, where they're like, how big of a star do you want to be? And then Eddie Griffin, the guy, pulls his dick out right behind the desk and goes like, well, then suck my dick and let's see how big of a star you want to be. It was the Me Too movement. It was the Harvey Weinsteins, the Rose McGowans that didn't want to fucking have some ugly flat slob of a man eating her pussy out, because she was like, get off me, but I also want to be on the big screen. And there's so much power and positions and money and jockeying for these positions that go on behind the scenes. And that's why we were watching Entourage, because it was a clear example of the drama. And there's drama on Entourage, behind the scenes. It was like with Seth Green, and he was being a total douchebag. Tell your girlfriend I said hello. And then he's like, I didn't, when I came all over her face like a Jackson Pollock, and just being completely douchebaggery and enticing him drama into the fight. And we're watching it, and I said, this is what you don't see. You don't see your favorite star like Brad Pitt smoking a joint, but he does, right? You don't see Leonardo DiCaprio smoking a cigarette, but he does. And you don't see Bill Clinton grabbing on asses, but he does. Literally, while I'm here in Finland, I was sitting at the King Rama spot, and he was where they were at. They were some was it Russia, or I forget where he was at. He was being a chef at an embassy, and his wife showed up to him, and her face was pale white, like she had saw a ghost. And he's like, "What had happened?" He's like, "Bill Clinton assaulted me." Now, this is my president. He's literally sitting there with the cup from our presidency to prove that he was at the embassy. But he's like, "You should have sucked his dick. We could have been in the Bahamas for the rest of our lives." I thought that was a piss poor imitation. I don't want anybody else touching my wife. But the truth of it is, if you're alone in the room with one of these narcissists, you're getting groped. They're on the Epstein list, and this is supposed to be the best president since sliced bread, and everybody's on his dick, and everybody wants to love him. Well, that's what narcissists feed off of, right? Like, love me, but don't see me, right? And the same with Saints Addiction. I'm like trying to be, a forthright guy. I'm telling you to get off these things, but I have my own dark sides. I got faceless porn. I print porn on shirts, tits on shirts, butts on shirts. I'm forthright about my sinning, and that's why I call it being an honest sinner, instead of somebody that's trying to pretend they're a winner, and then they're out being in a power position like a pope, and then cover up all the pedophilia that they did to all the children. This is what all the dead buries their body. Like my grandma said, how many babies are buried underneath the Catholic Church? Nobody wants to talk about abortion, but I'm honest about my abortions. I'm honest about the ones that I chose and the ones that I didn't choose, the ones that I wish never had happened, or the decisions that I regret. It's something that weighs heavily on my heart, and I think that maybe it might make me less of a narcissist, but I still have my narcissistic tendencies. I was battling with my team yesterday, and I'm like, guys, we got to do these things, you know what I mean? We got to push right now. And everybody's like, I can't. And I'm like, is your ball still there? And then I turn into a bully or somebody that's has psychopathy, right? And then it's just like, that's not me. I'm a saint, bro. I'm always nice to everybody. Yeah, fucking right, bro. Try getting your girl Sadea Khan, who's going to be a side chick for life, and go and tell them, I could suck his dick whenever I want. I'll suck his dick on your wedding day. Like, literally going off. And I heard her say it in an interview before where she's like, I got a horrible temper. I think we all do. Nobody wants to talk about it when they yell at their kids. Nobody wants to talk about it when they're abusive with their pets. And nobody wants to talk about their dark sides, because we all have a dark triad. I'm the only one on the morning going like, get off this thing, go do something healthy, and we're going to go smoke this joint when the sun's a little bit out right now, because it was just literally raining cats and dogs. And then we saw a flash, and it was like a big thunderbolt happened. So day and night, light and dark, halo and horns, I'm here to talk about the dark triads, and we could talk about the lighter triads too, maybe on a different episode. But on this episode of Saints Addiction, we're on a mission. We're going to talk about all the dark triads that happen with everyone. Everyone has a dark side that you can't see. One of the things that I've been witnessing lately is the what's his name? Nobody even knew his name. Charlie Kirk. Before he even got assassinated, right? He wasn't decapitated, and he wasn't just murdered. He was assassinated, right? Like everybody keeps talking about. He got what's the word that they keep using? Anyway, it doesn't even matter. But my point is like nobody ever really kind of knew about this guy till he got killed. And then when everybody started to celebrate that he got killed, he didn't just get killed, he got assassinated. My point being is that anybody that started to celebrate, ding dong, the wicked witch is dead, they got fired from their jobs. And I was watching these videos, all these people that got fired because they did a sucking happy dance that someone got killed. And it shows you the dark side of people, right? Like when they can't wait for someone to die, literally get murdered, assassinated in front of everybody in the world, they can't wait to come up with their own opinions. That's where some of your dark triads lie. Most people like opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. This is true. And usually you show your asshole and you show your whole ass when these things end up happening, right? You go like, hey, this is me, right? This is my whole ass showing out. I didn't want anybody to see, but I wished a dead man more death or watch his children perish or any of these other things. It shows our dark side. Like if you don't like somebody, you probably we'll dance on their grave. And we used to call that peeing on your grave or whatever. But like, there's a lot of people that can't wait for you to eat shit and die, is what we usually say, right? Like, we can't wait for somebody to come up short and then we can say, I told you so, or you're not good enough, or fuck them, let's judge them, like the Coldplay guy. It was in front of everybody. He's cheating on his wife, and then all of a sudden we all like dig deeper, like we're the only ones spending money in OnlyFans, and that he spent how much money, and then he got fired as a CEO. He pretty much fucked up his whole life in one fatal second, but that's when you become popular. Most people don't ever see this, but it's usually when you fuck up. It's not when you did a good job, or your movie's number 1, or you got a number 1 single. It's because you slept around with your wife. I think that was David Grohl, and then he knocked up some young chick, or your Coldplay, or CEO Coldplay. I can't even think of other people right now. There's just so many instances of us being human, and this is what it be called a Greek trauma, or drama. The Greek dramas was that's what we like to see. We wanted to see the ebb and flow of everybody. We wanted to see the hero fall and then come back up. We wanted to see the intricacies of a love triangle and Romeo and Juliet and trying to pin the tail on the donkey. We are all a part of this triangle. It's not like any one of us gets to escape any of this. We all have dark triads and traits that we might not exhibit to the public, because that's part of the Machiavellian techniques. Not to show all your cards, but to hide your instincts, or not your instincts, but your intentions and the motivations that you actually have, instead of the ones that you pretend to everybody, like I'm such a God-fearing person, and the other chick was like, fuck you, bitch, get the fuck away from me. And she's like, I'm a Christian, I'm at church every Sunday, blah 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 blah. But you just told this chick to fuck off because she gave her opinion. Yeah, that's because she interrupted me and thought that she was trying to start something. And this chick acted like the most anti-Christian motherfucker, but she's like, I am Christian, I go to church every Sunday. So does my grandma, but she still was honking at the horn at my Papa Otis, telling him to get out of my fucking spot. You spent a whole hour or 2 in the church dressed up trying to say praise Jesus, and you know all the hymns, and you want to sing good, but then you'll go behind everyone's back shit talking like, didn't she wear that last Sunday, and she doesn't sing that good, and honk 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 and fight in the parking lot. Yeah, Christianity goes out the window when you have a temper, right? My temper is almost as bad as my own mother's when she's kicking my shit out of the 3rd-story window, and I'm like, God damn, Mom, what the fuck was that? Will she ever say sorry? Of course not, because she's just like my father. Damn fucking narcissistic Scorpios. That's what I call them, but that's what it is. And for me to get right with myself, I had to be honest about my ego, honest about my shortcomings, and honest about my weaknesses, like weed, or food or sex or any of the other things that are one of my addictions, because we're all addicted, bro. I don't give a fuck who you are. Even my friend this morning, he's like, let me make some coffee. Oh, well, we're out of milk. Well, I guess we're being coffee then. Even milk's the addiction. We pair the addiction together, the milk with the coffee with the cannabis, and then I'm happy. Or I need the sex with the wine with the movie, or I need the food with the sex and the travel. We all have addictions. I'm a travel addict, definitely a food addict, definitely a sex addict, definitely a weed addict, and what else am I an addict to? Clothing addict, I guess. I'm not addicted to consumerism, but I am addicted to business, right? Like that's what I specifically bit into, because I knew that as soon as I bite into it, I would be stuck. And guess what? Somebody's here right now. Let me go check on what's what. Hold on, hold tight. Let me see. Is somebody at the front door? No, they're at the back door. Somebody else is coming. I'm doing the morning motivation. Then we're gonna go smoke this joint and release our the morning motivation.
Like half an hour.
I didn't even start it. It's only been 15 minutes.
No.
You're late. You're late. You're early. Go smoke my joint. You're in now, right? Okay, cool. Let me grab this. I even got the umbrella. Is it bad luck on the inside? But yeah, dude, down here at the print shop. Balls, sneakers, speakers, headphones, sunglasses, mugs, you name it. We're here printing on everything, photos on everything. Leg out, let's go. I'm gonna put on my jacket and drink some water, and then we're gonna smoke. But the dark triads exist. And I think the one trick that the devil plays on everybody is that it doesn't happen, right? The biggest trick that the devil ever played on humans is to pretend that he doesn't exist. Well, he exists, just like yin and yang. Inside you, inside me, halo and horns, it's the truth of everything. Give me a sec. In a sec.ai. But, everybody would like to pretend that they're nicer than they are till they're frustrated with their kids and they're smacking them around. Or that they love their pets, but every time they're around, they're like, sit down, shut up. They do all those things. It's one of the things that ends up happening. And that's why I called it Saint's Addiction, because my last name is Saint, but my father had addictions. He would tell you he was an alcoholic, workaholic, and fuckaholic, as if any of those are words. But also, those were his shortcomings, you know what I mean? It was one of those things where he was abusive to my mother and nobody wants to talk about it, or that his dad was a pedophile, or that what else ends up happening that we kind of try to push underneath the rug and we don't... Hold on. I'm too far from the fuck. What is all this shit? What is all this shit on the ground? What is this yellow shit in the trees? Is this fall? Fuck. That's because the leaves fall. And most of us fall, bro. We all have shortcomings. It's not like anybody's perfect, and that's why mostly Saints is perfectly imperfect, because there is nobody that's perfect. There is nobody that has it all or knows it all or makes something happen. Shit, even the branches fall off the tree, if you know what I mean. We all have shortcomings, and not one person is perfect. That's why we invented called the Jesus or something like that, or one of the other gods, that they were so perfect and the gods were perfect and the devils weren't. But I got to tell you, there's 9 levels of hell, but there's also 9 levels to heaven, and a lot of us go in between both of them. And that's why I like yin and yang for all of us, because it is true. Even when you got the light, you got the dark in you. And even in the darkness, there's some light. And that's the balance of it. And that's why all my stuff is black and white. You know what I mean? It's like it's black and white like me. And it's not also black and white in everything. There's gray zones and situations that we don't know. And that the situations that you don't know can hurt you. What you don't know can hurt you. And that's why you need to be aware of narcissists. It's like, he's a narcissist. Well, you were the one dating him. Or, I ate my baby daddy. Well, why'd you pick him in the first place? Or the girls are like, bad boy or good boy? I want a bad boy. But you want a husband. We say things that are, what do they call it? We're hypocrites. They're against what we're saying and what we're doing. And our actions speak louder than words. So if in our actions we go and say, oh, I'm sober, but we're drinking coffee. No one's sober, bro. No one's without addictions. Not one person is perfect. And that's why we invent these things like perfectly imperfect, or invent people that are perfect and we like to hail them as our gods. But even the gods were flawed. If you look at Greek tragedies, that's what we liked about them. For the first time, the gods stopped looking like falcon heads and cats and other and alligator heads like in the Egyptians. And the Greeks modeled them after us. They had arms, they had heads, they committed adultery. They come down from the sky and sleep with your wife and knock her up and then go back up into the sky. Yeah, that's how Hercules was born, believe it or not. So it's one of these things that we always like to pretend. No, don't look at my sins. I'm Mark Saint. I'm just a saint. And everybody said, I cracked on the girl and said, Saint, yeah, like you're really a saint. That's what everybody always says to me, more like ain't. And it's like, look, I do my best to be right by people. But the truth is I haven't always been nice to people. There's people that hate me. There's people that have been burnt by me. There's people that I owe money. It's the truth of the matter. And I try to be best by all my people, but some days have bad days. Like yesterday, I was on fire. Fire! And you can be on the war path, or you can be on the good path, or on the good foot, as like we like to say. But the truth is not all days are going to be sunshiny. Like this, right now. I'm looking up above. Let me get further away from the router. But over here's the clouds. You see this, oh, here comes the wind, here comes the rain. And then over here, it's baby blue skies, So sometimes it's raining. Over here, it's raining right now, but it's blue skies right here. It's the balance, bro. It's all the balance of our lives that we all end up actually pretending like everything's okay, but sometimes we're not okay. And it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to be out of sorts, and it's okay to have shortcomings, and it's okay to not be perfect, or even the people that we consider or exalt, like our Hollywood actors or a singer. We're like, oh, Taylor Swift, she's a hoe. But nobody wants to know. Don't you talk about Taylor Swift like that? All the Swifties are going to come at me, hit me in the DM. But guess what? That's what it is. You're going to go up in the morning and you're going to be flawed. One day you're going to be bloated. One day you're going to be skinny. Sometimes you can work out. Sometimes you can overeat. We all are like that, bro. Not one person is sitting here just eating 1 calorie a day. We got to eat every day. And we might not choose the right things to eat or treat people right. It's one of the worst kind of coverings, but it's the truth. Is like we'll fucking treat the people that we love the worst. Believe it or not. You believe this shit? People that we like, the ugly looks this lady's giving me. She's just staring at me like, why are you giving me dirty looks? You know, it's the judgment, and that's where we fall, where we think we're like, what's his name, Willy Wonka, and that we can just put the egg on the weights and it said good egg, bad egg. You know, it's like you're just an egg, and it's not so nice in the jungle. We talked about it this morning. The truth is, I don't want to raise your 8 kids. We were watching the videos and the chick's bringing 8 kids to the meal and buying 8 meals for her kids. And guess what? Didn't have the money, enough money to even feed her own kids. But she was trying to go on a first date and get this guy to cover for somebody else's baby daddy. Or that the guy gave her child support. He was like, it's called child support, not ex-boyfriend support. So she took the child support and bought J's for a boyfriend, and then was trying to hit the guy up for more money so she could go to the swap meet and get fake J's for the kid. It's enough to miss the bus. There's girls that are out there. I forget the chick's name, but she's trying to pretend she's Muslim. Or what we call Muslim cosplay. But she's trying to pretend like she's Muslim all of a sudden. But she was the one that was sitting inside of her car talking about how stupid athletes are. Got knocked out with the NBA player and was an atrocious mom. She's like yelling right in front of the kid. And that's what they do. They're like, I'm his mom. Yeah, but look what you're teaching them. She's like, thanks for the food, but where's the one for the kid? This is our first date, and you're trying to get me to feed your kid? Kid, are you hungry? He's like, yeah. And I'm like, well, then where's his dad? Why doesn't he feed him? And they don't want to talk about that. That's not us. You asked me out, and no, and all some hood rich shit, and it's just like so ghetto. It's not even funny. And that's what it is. It's not funny. People don't want to talk about the Machiavelli. They don't want to talk about the court in England and everybody trying to be in the king's ear or have power because they're in the king's favor is what they used to call it, or have enough power so they could squash their enemies, or like Steve Jobs would yell at his employees or fire them because he didn't like one word that they said or what they were wearing. It's true. He used to park in handicapped park spots. What an asshole. And like we all have the capacity, bro. That's why it's called Saint's Addiction right here. The possibility to not only be a saint and peaceful, but the chaos that comes with it. We're all a bunch of fucking storms waiting to blow past. Sometimes we're a sunny day, and sometimes we're just a fucking storm that blows through people. And we don't want to really talk about these things. So I'm here to be honest about my flaws. That's why it's honestly flawed as Saint's Addiction. I'm an honest sinner. I had my issues with cocaine. I had my issues with abuse. I had my issues with my own temper. I talk about these things because of the other people who are on the shows going like, I'm the perfect human being. I watch pearly things. But like she said, she went to Christian school. But guess what? She was just trying to get a boyfriend. And why do girls want a boyfriend? So they can have a guy that they can fuck without being judged. It's our judgment. It's the stank eye from the lady that just walked by. It's the girl that just pushed back her fucking curtain. I saw her to see what was going on. And it's all of us when we stare at somebody and we make snap judgments. We look at people and like, look what they're wearing. Oh my God, they're a junkie. What are you a junkie for? You know what I mean? It's probably on sweets, or it's probably on sugar, or it's probably on sex. It's all of us. We're mammals. And out in the jungle, it's real. There are lions, the tigers. Well, I shouldn't say lions. It should be, what's the guys with the, I guess he's a lion, but what do you call that when it's the male lion? Holy shit, we got action here. I might have to go inside. That's a little too loud for me. I don't know what's going on here. Oh, they're starting to drill or something. But yeah, we were talking about it today where the lions would go, they would kill the cubs of the lionesses. That's right, lions and lionesses. They would kill the cubs of the lion because they would put the other girl in estrus. So if he kills her cubs and he's not raising someone else's babies, he's going to make sure that DNA gets killed. It's the same representation for the eight babies and daddies, right? Like you slept with 8 different dudes and had 8 different babies, and yet you're going to bring all these kids to the dinner for the first date and order food for all of them. them, but you can't pay, or people wanting to split bills. Or when I was watching the other girl, she was like, this guy just ate sushi, and that's fucked up. He ate off of my plate, and he's like, it's sushi. Everybody shares, and she's fucking wilding out on him, or crashing out, as these kids like to say nowadays, crashing out on him on their first date because he took three pieces, or she was counting. We can be very petty people too. You know, she's counting how many pieces of sushi that he took off her plate, but he bought the meal, and she's like, you know what, we can split this check. I'll buy my own things. She's like, why didn't you order a whole nother roll? He's like, I thought we were sharing. So some people think it's stealing. Some people think it's sharing. Some people think it's would she say that she was taking it out on her kids? Ooh, I got a nice buzz going. That she was like, I wish I had more free time so I could be the best mom that I wanted to be for my children, like I envisioned. But then I get angry, and then I start arguing in front of my kids with their baby daddy, and I'm mad at him because if we had the life, or we were still together, I would have more free time, and I would be a better mom and get to take my kids and what they could deserve, or get to do other things. And it's just one of these things that it all falls down. When it all falls down, it all boils down to the same thing, that we do things, there's action, and then there's a reaction, there's consequences, and there's accountability. And all of us have to fall on this balance sheet, if you will. And the Egyptians did it too, with the balance of life, that good egg, bad egg, Willy Wonka measurement that we all do, yin and yang, that we say, you know, one of these triads, the one thing, I'm a good person. We were talking about Machiavellian techniques, where he's like, I wouldn't kill anybody to get to the top, but if someone killed my mom, I might kill them. Right? You know what I mean? Or I'm not a violent person till somebody does something that makes me violent. Right? We all have the capacity to be extremely violent and extremely creative. It makes us this unity of a human being. So it's like watching these things, or countries like, you know, like Russia trying to come over here to Finland. And Finland's a very peaceful country. It's so peaceful. In fact, when they were back in the days, they didn't even have a word for war. Till war came over to their borders, and they got overtaken by the Russians. They still have this conflict zone between them, this friction that is between the dark and the light. You know what I mean? The fake and the real, and whatever else we want to call it, fake news or real news. You know what I mean? It's still news, and it's the way that we perceive it, it's the way that we judge it, and it's the way that we believe it. And that's all that ends up happening. It's not like any but one person is going without it. We're all going to walk past somebody and give them the stank eye. We've all been the type of person that someone said hi and we ignored, kept walking. And we've all been the person that's probably returned a wallet to the person. Or maybe you didn't. Maybe you took it upon yourself to take the cash out and thought it was your upcome when it was someone else's downcome, right? It's what we call it, a come up in the streets, right? But call it a loss. You take an L when you're also in the same street. So someone's taking a loss, somebody's trying to take a win, someone's trying to work on suppression, and someone's trying to work on elevation. You know, we're all trying to climb that corporate ladder, but we're not mentioning the corporate sabotage that ends up happening for you to fall back down the ladder so someone else can go on top of you and circumvent you, or whatever else that you do. So it's out there. Whether we like it or not, the dark triads exist, and there's going to be somebody that wants your position, and they're going to do something subversive to get to where you are, or where they think they want to be, or whatever they're envious of. And it's all those possibilities. It's the whole seven deadly sins that we all participate in, but we don't want to. We want to pretend. So that's this morning's motivation. If you got anything out of it, you already know. Like, share, subscribe below. Saints Addiction, peace and love, and as always, Chigathon. That means goodbye, but not forever in Phoenix. And I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. But the other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be. Peace.